Today's video is all about Oraichain, broadcast trustworthy proofs, building Web3 applications with unique AI Oracle. We're going to do a bit of a deep dive today, looking into this project, figuring out whether this project has what it takes to make it to our portfolio. We're going to be looking at the value proposition, the team, the overall tokenomics, and exactly what makes this project special. So you know what? Let's talk about the news, let's analyze the charts, and let's strategize to capitalize. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mike, and let's get right into it, guys. If you're new to the channel, welcome on the channel. We talk about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the altcoins, looking for opportunities. And of course, today is all about the opportunity, Oraichain. Guys, it's a pretty interesting project, and I think that it really does have an interesting value proposition for the up and coming bull run. We're going to be looking at this project, digging a bit deep. We're going to be using the website as the main platform to navigate this deep dive. We're going to be looking at the value proposition. We'll look at the team and see what it has to offer, the roadmap, the tokenomics, and overall, we want to see that this project has what it takes to make it to our portfolio, because of course we're looking to be scaling in to projects right now for the up and coming bull run, and any pullbacks wherever we see them in the market, we definitely want to have our top 10 list. Does Oraichain make it to the list? All right, guys, let's begin. Let's take a look at what's going on here. Broadcast trustworthy proofs, a little bit of technical jargon. I would say it's too early to get too technical in a landing page like this. Layer 1, okay, IBC enabled, okay, fine, multi dimensional trustworthiness, a lot of vocabulary here that is not really that necessary, but nonetheless it is necessary going forward. But in the landing page, I would have liked a little bit more simplicity. Tip, click on the logo. Okay, let's click on the logo. We have some interaction. Okay, fine. Now there's a learn button. That's pretty good. I think that maybe they'll have some more extra info there. If you want to dig deeper, we'll click that in a second. Let's continue going down. Experience AI-driven innovation, okay, ecosystem. This is another good important level that we need to get into, and maybe the tech. I'm hoping that they have a decent white paper, deliver into our dynamic ecosystem of products, NFTs, DeFi, identity, collective intelligence, and so on and so forth. Pretty good there. Their partners, what do they have here? Nothing is loading currently at the moment. I think they had something interactive there another day. You could kind of scooch around. So unfortunately, that's not working. But yesterday it was working, so let's take that with a grain of salt. Maybe there's a little bit of an issue there, but they had some individuals there. They had some projects, right? They had Injective, they had Alchemy Pay, they had Tron, they had other partners. Now, you know how I think about partners, right? Are they really partners, or are they just part of the same ecosystem and that type of thing? Ultimately, a lot of what I saw there could definitely benefit from Oraichain. This is why I'm going to be very open-minded this time about Oraichain and the potential application that they could offer to other projects, especially within the Cosmos ecosystem. And we'll talk about all of this in a second. Why Cosmos? Because at the end of the day, Oraichain is built on top of Cosmos, which is an interesting play, in my opinion, giving it definitely an aspect of interoperability. All right, so let's continue. Accelerator programmers, the program, this is for developers to get the overall ecosystem going. This is important. Building from the bottom, the ground level, and giving utility to the token. So they have an accelerator program, which is good, and you can subscribe to a newsletter. And that's about it, guys. That's the website. I found it to be slightly short, slightly underdeveloped. A lot of other links down here in different categories if you want to know about the token, if you want to be a builder, a developer, ecosystem information, and resources. Okay, so let's click on this white paper. Let's see what we get. Hopefully it doesn't take us away from the page. Okay, perfect. We got the white paper. What else do we have? Let's scroll right. We have the team. Let's see if we can open that. Oh, it's going to do it in the same one. Let's go back a second. Let's get our white paper in a new tab. Let's get our team in the new tab. That's fine, and we'll go through all of these. What else do we have? We have an ecosystem, a bunch of different projects, which is cool. And the token contracts, this should all be covered on the white paper. And if we scroll up, let's go back to some of these links. Let's learn. Let's open a new tab. And what else do we have here? Ecosystem. I'm interested in that, of course. And the tech aspect should be within the white papers, but why not? Let's do another one. Let's do another little tab here. So we've got a few tabs. We'll go through them quick. Let's go through the white paper quick. Introduction. Okay, it's a smart contract. So basically, it's a layer one, guys. It's a layer one. And what I'm getting from this, it's trying to bring in AI. It's trying to bring AI into smart contracts. Right now, smart contracts, when you develop or you program a smart contract, it uses typical programming structure, Boolean logic, yes or no. That's all you're really looking for. If this, then that. You're looking for conditional statements. You're looking for the basics behind computer science, basically. And it's very strict because of that, right? There's no flexibility, and we kind of want that. We kind of want the strictness. We want the clarity because strict rules, clear instruction, clear framework gives us transparency, and that's really what we want. But at the same time, as technology evolves, as we see AI take part of our daily life and so on, we now have other tools that can bring some dynamics, right? Some dynamics to our daily life, and including the smart contract. So in this case, how can we introduce the AI into the smart contract platform? And for me, that is an interesting aspect, a very interesting aspect. However, also very concerning, because from my experience, AI is not that reliable. Okay, it is great. It's a great tool. It adds a lot of good, let's say, simplicities, right? Like it makes things a little bit easier in your daily life if you want to research something or so on. But it is incorrect many of the times, and it's not that reliable, unfortunately. Okay, so we have to be clear about this. So what I want to read here is a very important thing. Smart contracts allow to always follow strict rules. We understand that, in which it inputs must be 100% accurate, and that's what we like about the smart contracts. However, AI models can hardly give such accuracy. We understand that. As a result, Oraichain is there to reduce some aspects of strictness to obtain better functionality and user experience. So what they're trying to say here is AI, to a degree, can give us a little bit of that flexibility, but at the same time, not, reduce some of the strictness of the contract. That bothers me a little bit. Maybe that language or the way they're explaining it is a little bit problematic. We need the clarity, we need the strictness, right? Because then we start to worry about vulnerability, right? So environment, smart contracts are mostly written at high-level programming. In fact, it's quite the opposite. It's more in comparison to Python and Java, it's lower level programming. Python is a high-level language. The closer you get to binary language, binary meaning zeros and ones code, that's actually called low-level. So I'm assuming that they are writing for regular individuals, not developers. But in this case, I would be concerned about the language here. Okay, Rust is a difficult programming language. Solidity is not that difficult, and it's I don't know where they're going with this. At the end of the day, they're both different languages, and beyond even speaking to an AI is a coding language in itself. So, at this point, I don't know what they're trying to achieve here, explaining the environment and the programming. The reality is none of this really applies. Nevertheless, the AI models are in typical. So what does this have to do with anything, in my opinion? Okay, so let's move on. Data size, on one hand, smart contracts often have relatively smart storage. This is important. This is where things are important. It helps to reduce transaction fees. Some blockchain networks, such as Ethereum, on the other hand, the size of the AI model is much bigger. So what happens here is that we need data feeds. We need data feeds because at the end of the day, the blockchain itself cannot store all the data. Okay, because that's one of the limitations, or else there would be too much congestion on the network. The network is not meant to hold that amount of data. So in that case, we need a data feed, and that's what we call oracles, right? So if we can use an AI model, to become that oracle, it definitely becomes a scenario where we can introduce artificial intelligence into a smart contract, giving that smart contract some dynamics, some intelligence beyond the if and else statement, right? So this is a good thing, but ultimately something that we need to have clear instruction, clear some clear framework, because AI, as I mentioned, is not that stable just yet. There's a lot of iffiness there. There's many times where you put prompts in an AI model on any AI model and it's incorrect, and you can actually correct it and it will identify its incorrectness, right? So this is the thing. I still feel a little bit iffy on that. There are a few scenarios where AI is very useful and necessary. Identification based biometric methods such as face and fingerprint, that is really interesting and is very true. I can assume that it will do a really good job at that. Automating trading based and price predictions, I don't agree with this one because the markets are always changing, and that for me, it would require the AI to identify dynamics in the market. I don't know if it's capable of doing that right now, because at the end of the day, AI models still use database, a massive amount of database data. Basically, it's not able to come up with its own predictions. It needs to be fed data, and a significant amount of it, and in a market where it's always changing, how quickly can that happen, right? So we need an oracle that can keep up, and number one, and can be slightly forward thinking, and we need to be able to create an algorithm that is forward thinking. And at the end of the day, that is a strategy on its own. So that's a difficult one. That's the trading and all that kind of stuff is very, very difficult. Lending based on credit scores, fine. Comparison to products, 100%. Evaluating price of the, okay, so I'm getting into a little bit of detail here. The reason being is the value proposition right now, based on what it's trying to give us, is AI has what it takes to enter the smart contract. That's what it's basically saying. And if that is the case, we are going to need Oraichain as an oracle, the same way Ethereum needs Chainlink to send over, let's say, price data from different tokens on a DEX. We need Oraichain in such a way to bring some AI intelligence into our smart contracts. Guys, this is a very smart and this is a very, very valuable proposition here for the crypto space, because if we can now make contracts a bit more dynamic and a bit more intelligent based on AI models with some strict framework as with those AI models, the AI contracts or these contracts can get definitely to the next level. So for me, this is a very bullish narrative, very interesting narrative, and it's a very forward-thinking narrative. So again, there's a bit of friction here. As you can see, I'm a bit, worried about a few things here, but ultimately, this is the landscape. This is where we should be going in the future. So just because things are uncomfortable and on uncharted territory, it doesn't mean that you can completely ignore the fact that it has some value here. Definitely high value proposition, especially forward thinking. Okay, let's move on. Terminology, data source, okay, token. Let's look at the token economics. Okay, so there's a little bit of ambiguity here. Let's be real. We'll jump right into this aspect of this review. Ultimately, there's a bit of ambiguity here because at one point they updated their token, their economy. Let's put it that way. They decided to get rid of a good portion of their tokens by burning them all. Now, there is some more data that I want to share with you, because here on the white paper, it doesn't really, let's see, initial supply, token burn, right here. This is what I wanted to show you. On certain dates, December 2020, March 2021, and June 2021, they decided to burn a significant amount of their tokens to increase the decentralization, to increase the transparency, to make it more fair, let's put it this way, and ultimately to protect itself from being deemed a security. So for me, this is a smart move in regards to the Oraichain being, again, forward thinking and trying to make it very compliant and at the end of the day, friendly to investors. They burned their 73% of the initial supply, total supply, in 2020. Okay, so this is an important thing. The team burnt all majority of their tokens, burnt from the team. So this is how many they burnt, and the team advisors and foundation burnt this many. They burnt a significant amount, let's put it this way, to the point that the rest of them are basically in fair launch in a very, very decentralized scenario. Look at how they are now. As of August 2023, then the token distribution is now like this. Ecosystem has this many tokens, the DAO has this many tokens, and the foundation that is regulated by the DAO has this many tokens. Guys, this is very, very important because now, instead of having the team and the advisors and the early investors and so on and so forth holding a good majority of the tokens, well, now it's governed by a DAO, a decentralized autonomous organization, and it's run by the foundation, and all of that now is completely decentralized. Guys, that is the future. This is what what we want to see. So it could be that when Oraichain first created its whole structure, this wasn't a big thing, but in the last little while, in the last, I would say, good 2 years, throughout this bear market, we realized that the decentralization of any organization is very, very important for many reasons. Okay, one of which non-security, and second, for transparency. We don't want a rug pull. We don't want the team to hold so many, because again, we don't know if they're going to dump them on the market and so on and so forth. So this does really good job making us feel a bit more comfortable. Real-time circulating supply. We'll talk about the tokenomics, but the circulating supply is at about 13 million tokens, and there's only about 19 million tokens at max supply. So that means that a good 60-something% is already in circulation, which is very, very healthy, which means that there's not much risk of tokens dumping on the market, hitting the market and dragging down the price. Okay, so far this is really good. Tokenomics are good. I don't see any issue here, and we'll get into a little bit again as a recap when we go and look at the overall market cap and all those type of things. Let's move on. This is looking pretty good, guys. Oh, and we also have the emission schedule. So you can see it's very linear. It's not completely perfectly linear, but you can see bit by bit, slow and steadily, we're going to see some tokens hit circulation, and they're going to be distributed to the DAO, the ecosystem, which is, again, developers. This is important. We want the ecosystem growth, so the token has utility. And if the token has utility, the token will go up in value. So we want to see projects nowadays not focus on the team and focus on investors and so on. We want them to focus on the ecosystem, because ultimately that's what's going to bring value to the team. And then the foundation, which is, again, in one swoop, it does involve everybody that is on the team as well. It's the foundation itself, but governed by a DAO, and usually the DAO dictates how much the foundation is going to have as far as capital goes. Okay, so the DAO is a decentralized autonomous organization, and it votes on every aspect behind Oraichain. So this is good. It's decentralized authority here, guys. So this is a good thing. Good stuff here. I like this. This is nice. Now we're here in 2020. I wish I could make this bigger. Well, we can. And we are in, let's see where we're at. Sorry, guys. 2020. Yeah, we're right around here. So, at the end of the day, like, we're doing okay. We're doing okay. We are basically ready to start, growing, and you can see that the majority of them are already out. Like, the reality is we're out there. So you have a little bit of pressure, but not too much. It's still very healthy. I like the tokenomics, and it's in its maturity phase. Now, this is not a micro cap. This is not a low cap. We'll talk about that in a second, but you know what I mean? Like, this thing has a lot to offer already. So the ecosystem, a little bit more about the DAO, the treasury, and then the foundation, primarily used to support research and development, open source code. It's just to overall have a bit of capital or influence over the support of the community and so on. And the foundation basically offers that link between the Oraichain and the general community. This is really good. This is what we need. This is a very typical structure amongst many projects out there. Token utility. What is this token used for? Okay, transaction fees, staking, and validators. So they get rewarded. A lot of the times it's all about rewards. Okay, so there's a fee for transaction, and then the validators get a cut of those fees. Participation in the network governance. Of course, now that it's a DAO, if you're a holder, you can vote and so on and so forth for different things, including how much people get paid and what gets allocated to marketing and other things. Right? It all depends on the structure of the DAO. Okay, so that's a really good thing, but it's very, very traditional token utility for a layer 1. Okay, so about transaction fees, request, okay, API, test character, mining, you can mine, ORAI, and so on and so forth. Okay, what else do we have? General for developers. We're not going to get into that. There's wallets, all kinds of wallets. The O wallet is the main wallet. And then the price feeds. You have Binance, BNB, Ethereum, Oraichain, its actual native chain, deployed contract, and so on. And they have a DEX. They got a lot of things going on here, guys. So feel free to do a bit more research as far as its ecosystem, because there's a lot of projects being built that are native to the Oraichain team and organization that could benefit with a bit of research. But ultimately, we're looking at the Oraichain project itself, And so far, as a layer one, it's doing a great job providing a lot of these projects a great place to be built, right? So let's go back to the website, and then I want to see what the white paper that was token white paper. We kind of went through that. Let's go through the team. Okay, the Oraichain Labs, guys. This is a solid team. A very solid team, obviously a big group of people, very dedicated, next generation Web3 dApps. That's their motivation, that's their first mindset, and that's where they put all their creativity in. So that's a really good thing. Oraichain Labs, the teams. Okay, so you have 6 PhDs, 58 developers and employees, a massive, massive team. And the best part is that they're fully doxed, guys. You can get on LinkedIn and see everything, even where they got their undergrad, where they worked in the past. And look at that. When you have this amount of transparency with a team, you feel a little bit more comfortable because ultimately you know where their talent is and you know where they're going to be focusing their talents. So that's a really important thing. Now, I would suggest that you look at a few of them if you're interested in going to a little bit more detail what they're about, but they're all heavyweights, all lots of experience from all over the world. So that's a really good thing. I'm really liking that. And these are some good advisors that they have there on board, which is good. And then some business partners. This was the graphic that I wanted to show you on the main page, but for some reason it didn't load up. So they call these partners, and you know, at the end of the day, you know how very critical I am. Is Alchemy Pay an actual partner? You know, or are they just working together in the sense that maybe Alchemy Pay might use Oraichain, right? So maybe it is a partner, maybe it isn't. But as an oracle, the reality is, as soon as their ecosystem grows, the dependency is going to be there. The same way Ethereum-based projects are dependent on Chainlink, it's almost like the dependency is going to be there. If the smart contract wants to use AI, there is going to be a dependency on Oraichain, which is a very healthy thing for Oraichain ultimately. So the business partner aspect kind of is a lot broader. You got to think a lot broader here, because there's going to be a relationship here eventually where it's going to be, if you want to use AI in your contract, you're going to need Oraichain. So this is a good thing, very, very good thing. So we're gonna have to take a look. There's Syscoin, Injective, Oasis, ticker is Rose. There's a lot of them that are pretty good. Alchemy Pay, like I mentioned, and a few others. So guys, do a bit of research, and you can see that this is a very healthy stacked partnership, or let's say call them relationships that they may have here in the market. So very good there. And then the team, again, they love their photos, pretty good. And then the incubation, they don't have a roadmap, unfortunately, here, guys. They don't have a roadmap that I could find clearly, but they do have an incubation. Okay, so what that basically means, this is what they have in the pipeline. This is what they're working on. This is what they're building, and they have a few. They have Orcai, Nest Stock, QP. I don't know what these are, but you can definitely click into them and see some of the projects that are in the pipeline that are going to be released here on the Oraichain Labs network. So really cool stuff ultimately, and a lot more engagement, community engagement. You can see how they, you know, the overall culture of the team, and pretty good stuff. I've never seen a page focus so much on the team before on any of my deep dives. Okay, so this is a good thing. They're proud and they're honest, and I kind of really do like that. Okay, that's a good feeling that you get when you have some dedicated individuals like these guys. Okay, so do a bit more research. Now, if you click here on the vision, it's pretty good. Honestly, it wasn't that much more informative than what you can get on other places of the website, but they have a cool video. Feel free to check that one out. Core technologies, they have a few technologies here that they're obviously working on, you know, and the AI Oracle being their major focus. And then of course they have the IBC. It's basically it's what Cosmos gives any project that is built on their base layer. It gives them interoperability, the ability to basically IBC, Ethereum, Binance Smart Chain, Tron, to create cross-chain harmony, basically cross-chain technology. And that is a bit of a you know, a trend that we are all seeing, especially as we see Cosmos-based projects run pretty hard now in the last little while. They've been showing a bit of strength. It's because I think that the market is realizing that, you know, they want to have the freedom to bounce around from chain to chain, and IBC gives that feature in a very safe way using the Cosmos base layer. So if that is something that interests you, you can guarantee that Oraichain, being part of that overall interoperability, can be a very easy way, a path of least resistance, to basically get onto other chains. And as an oracle, you kind of want that. You don't want to be stuck hosting to only one type of one chain, right? Like, for example, being stuck to only serve ERC20 projects, right? That's a problematic thing because you're limited. Where if you're in an interoperability play as an Oracle, you can offer, your Oracle services to all the chains that are basically supported into the IBC. So that's really, really good. And I think that might give a very good use case across many chains going forward. And we're seeing a lot of the layer ones finally waking up, finally building on their ecosystem. And if they're IBC compliant, they're going to be able to use Oraichain. So that's a really good thing. ZK engine. So if you're looking into that privacy kind of thing, and tokenization, pretty good decentralized storage. That's a very hot narrative as well. But of course, keeping our data safe through decentralization and peer-to-peer networking. Really good stuff. Deep dive. We covered the white papers. If you want to go look at the Oraichain, GitHub, and the Academy to learn more about their vision and technology, guys, they have a lot of extra information. So go check that out. And the community. So I did go on their Discord, and unfortunately, I don't see a Discord, a Telegram. Their Discord is a bit weak. Not much happening in there. You ask a question, nothing really gets done. There's nobody really there manning the Discord, unfortunately. And the Discord has been very useful and popular in the last little while for those of us that want research. And in my opinion, it's outperforming Telegram significantly. So I would like to see a lot of these projects realize how important it is for community building on other platforms other than Twitter. Twitter is a great place, but you don't build strong and rich communities on Twitter. It's good for disseminating information, but not for community building. And Telegram as well, it's not the greatest for community building. They need to put a bit more focus on their Discord. Asking questions and not getting responses within a couple of hours, actually almost not instantly. And now in today's environment, in the potential bull run environment, is not the way to go. They need to have somebody there. Out of all those individuals on the team, they need to have somebody that is responsible for making sure that Discord is running at tip-top shape and all questions are being answered. I know it costs money to get a marketing team going, but this is the time where you should be spending marketing dollars. This is the time. As soon as the market starts looking like it's getting proof of life, this is where marketing dollars should be deployed. Okay, so that's what we gotta consider. And if you go on to, let's see if we click this, what it does. It goes to their X page. Web3, pretty good, not bad. Their overall posts are doing good. I have some data for you guys that I'm going to share in a second to see how engaged they are in their overall efforts here, and which is pretty decent. Honestly, they're doing a pretty good job keeping up with the overall space, not lagging behind whatsoever. What else do we have here? This is their ecosystem, their projects, their products that are built on it. They have a lot of main categories: AI marketplaces, the O wallet, ORAI DEX. You can see this is starting to look like a mature ecosystem with much to offer. So this is good, right? This is something that you want to see. You can see that this is not a microcap altcoin. This is something that's already slightly matured. And again, I just want to make it sure you understand they have this on their products. KuCoin is a popular centralized exchange. ORAI token. That's all. They're not partners. They just have you're able to buy their token on KuCoin and Gate and so on. So a lot of the times the teams just put all kinds of images or logos up, and they're not really partners. So just be very critical about all of these. Viop, hot team, hot project. I like Viop. For me, this is a good one. It's been running lately. I've got in very early on Viop based on the fact that it is going to be an AI, and this project may be one of those projects that require an Oracle like Oraichain. So this might be a great partnership in the works for sure. So pretty good stuff here, and the same with Ocean Protocol. You know what I mean? So we got some good stuff here. Definitely 10 out of 10 in my book with all the relationships they got going. They got their extensions, Android, and basically iOS. Pretty good stuff there. What else do we have here? Core Technologies, we talked about this. And then I think that this is the most valuable page out there. Okay, if you can scroll through this and read a little bit about what's happening here, I think this might offer you a lot of information that will kind of basically clarify some of the ambiguity, especially with regards to the tokenomics. The tokenomics has changed, and I don't see that some of the websites have updated a lot of the changes, even though it's been for a while, that they have made these changes. Let's look at this. Why make changes to the tokenomics? So they're going to explain why they changed the overall tokenomics. They wanted to be decentralized. They wanted to change the governance, and all of that. And that's a very important thing. We talked about that already. Decentralized governments will just kind of relieve them from being considered a security. What are the primary goals of the tokenomics vision? Demonstrating strong commitment to Oraichain's future by simplifying allocations and focusing on operations, accelerating the DAO. That's a very important thing, that now that they're governed by a DAO, there's not one centralized authority. How will the token allocation change after this revision? So this is what they're going to do. They're going to eliminate the team allocation. The team is no longer going to be a holder. Okay, so the tokens are going to be equally divided between the DAO and the treasury and the foundation. So those team tokens are no longer governed by the team. The team cannot dump on the market any longer unless it is voted through the DAO. So that's an important thing. Eliminating of the advisor allocation. So no more advisors. They're not getting any money. That allocation is being distributed to the DAO and the treasury. And an increase in the ecosystem allocation by adding the remaining marketing and released seed sale tokens to the total balance. So basically infusing more capital into the ecosystem, and that for me is where it's at. Building ecosystem builds utility, and building utility builds value for the token itself. That's important, and I think they've realized that better late than never. But a lot of the projects till this day, when I'm doing my deep dives, I'm pressing that that's a very important thing. Okay, so I'm glad to see that Oraichain is on board with this new trend. A lot of projects, guys, are not thinking this way, and unfortunately, there are some projects out there that I'm reading over, and they still don't understand the new wave of the way business structure needs to be done, thinking old school is not going to work in this environment now in the new era of Web3. What is the breakdown of the total supply? This is what's the new breakdown. Again, we talked about this a little bit. Feel free to look at this in a little bit more detail. We can open this in a new tab, no results, so let's leave that alone. How will each allocation be used? Again, the ecosystem, the DAO, the foundation, the DAO, this is all going to be a decentralized way. What is the Oraichain DAO and how does it work? Decentralized autonomous organization. Do a bit of research into what a DAO is. There's lots of DAOs. Knowing what a DAO is going forward is going to help you do your own deep dives, and when you see the word DAO, you're going to understand that really the authority is being decentralized amongst a governing body that is voting on all things about the project. Now, it all depends on its structure, right? Don't think about it that it's going to be slow moving in the sense that to make a decision, everything has got to be put to a vote. It doesn't work like that always, right? So it all depends on the structure. I've been doing a bit of research into DAO structures, and there are some really creative ways, one of which is Joystream. If you look at the Joystream DAO, it is a great implementation on how a DAO should be structured, and I'm going to be using that structure as a benchmark to judge whether other projects are doing the right way of basically building their DAO. How does the Oraichain Foundation support the Oraichain growth? It's all about that ecosystem, guys. We know that. It's all about the ecosystem, circulating supply, tokenomics. I want to get to where things are important. All of this is important, no doubt. After the token, so read this. This is again the circulating supply, the treasury, the foundation, total supply 13 million. All right, token is available for Ethereum. Okay, this is what I want to do. This is where we need to focus a little bit, because they actually give you numbers here: the change, the previous, the change, and the current circulating, and the max. This is where we're at right now. This is it. Okay, so we're almost in distribution, and you can see that all the tokens are held in a very decentralized way. This is the way to really get bullish here, and you can see that each chain has a certain portion of this supply. Okay, so we have some on Ethereum, we have some on Binance, we have some on Oraichain, the native blockchain, and the ones that are on the native blockchain are completely decentralized within that structure, and then all networks. Okay, fine. So pretty good here altogether. Real-time supply. The wallets. Guys, there's not much here. I wish I would have been able to get a little bit more information as far as the wallets of token holders. Like, I want to see the majority of the token holders and where they hold, like who are the top holders of the token, top 10 holders of the token. There's no real scanner to give me that clarity, unfortunately, but at least we're able to get this. Okay, so the next level, what we need is a scanner, some sort of scanner where we can get on and see the top wallets. I want to see the top 10, maybe the top 20 wallets, and see how much they own of the token, so that we know that the overall distribution of the tokens is well balanced, right? We don't want one main identity holding all the tokens, and we have an emission schedule, which means that over time we should see some of these tokens hit the market. But the question is, are they going to be sold? And if there's one person holding a majority of the tokens, how much liquidity could enter the market and just push down the price? And of course, we don't want that sell pressure, right? So overall, not bad. Okay, so let's we can summarize here. We covered quite a bit. The project is fairly solid, fairly solid overall. Let's go back to the main website to make sure that we didn't miss anything. We talked about the team, the overall value proposition. We talked about what else do we have here? Media kit, blog support, the team, media kit. There's no roadmap, unfortunately. I was digging through all of this and I couldn't find anything, guys, but it's okay. It's all good. Let's guys, let's look at that infographic just to summarize this overall, this deep dive. We can see that Oraichain has some good stuff going for it. We know that the AI narrative is hot. We know that it came out really strong in the last little while. Right at the beginning of this nice bullish rally, we started to see AI wake up, and it kind of started off this rally to the upside, right? It was one of the narratives that kind of brought a lot of volume into the market, and a lot of eyes into the market. Now, all of a sudden, now that it cooled off, we're starting to realize that those projects need a bit of support, and this is one of them. This is one of the projects that can provide support to AI in general, in the sense that we can start bringing AI into smart contracts, a very strict, rigid type of mechanism that we have here, which is the smart contract, can now be a little bit more fluid and a little bit more dynamic, given that it could use AI. So that's a good thing, as long as it's within a very strong and clear framework. So the ecosystem here on Oraichain, whoa, that's a move. Hold on, guys. These are all my other deep dives. Okay, so we have other ecosystem projects that are built on the ecosystem. 10 out of 10. We have ORAI Dex, O Wallet, ORAI Bridge, and many others. The ecosystem is well on its way to be a robust one, and a lot of these are in-house, proprietary, part of their own ecosystem, which is really good. Okay, and there are others that are being used right now. So feel free to go dig around, because definitely interesting. Utility, transaction fees, staking for validators, network and governance, very typical, nothing really out of the ordinary here. The roadmap, unfortunately, could not find it. There's nothing really there, and I could give it a bit just because of the incubation projects that are there ready in the pipeline, but no real dates or pipeline or anything to tell you what they're focusing on in the immediate short term. So unfortunately, there's nothing there, and I went on the Discord to ask, and there was nothing, crickets, no information, and nobody was didn't even know where to direct me. So unfortunately, 2 out of 10 right there. The team is 10 out of 10, strong team, fully doxed, and tons of experience. Guys, click around and you'll see what I mean. Lots of experience within the field, and computer science and engineering, and in blockchain and Web3, and the list goes on. Guys, strong team. They know where it's at. They know what they're doing. The socials, great progress overall, especially that we have been in a bear market in the last little while. They got 53,000 followers, which is decent for, it could be a little bit more, to be honest, but it's still decent. We got 3.2k followers for the last 30 days. So their following has been increasing this month, up 23% from the previous month. So that is very good. We're seeing some growth in the market, and also growth in their social presence. And then their posts, their aggressiveness, and their their overall effort here to keep things alive and keep things going on X. They are basically 135 X posts for the last 30 days. They've been posting 27% more than the last 30 days. So that is very good. They're cranking it up. They're definitely putting a bit of effort here on their socials, and I'm hoping to see that pay off. That's a very important thing. They need to put some effort on that Discord. Tokenomics, very good tokenomics. A little bit of transparency would be nice as far as looking at the token holders. I would like to see the bags. I wanted to see the wallets. Like, who are the wallets? Who are the top 10 wallets out there holding? And because, you know, they're on different chains and all of that, I get it. It's difficult, but the team should be creating a tool or some scanner feature where we can see the top 10 wallets. And it wasn't clear and easy to find. So in my book, if it's there, it's there. If it's not, I don't know. At this point, I couldn't find it. But that is why I didn't get 10 out of 10. It would have if I would have at least been able to see some of that information. Partnerships. Again, take it with a grain of salt, but because that's what I did. But a lot of good relationships there that could definitely utilize what their value proposition, right? So we have Alchemy Pay, Injective, Tron, Oasis, and many others there that I may have missed, Viot, and many others. So pretty good there in that department. But again, when you're gonna put the icons of any partners or any relationships, they should be clear as to what that relationship is, right? Have some links, click, move on to maybe a blog post that explains the relationships. What are they doing? What is the vision behind that relationship? And at least we can get a little bit bullish on that relationship, not just putting logos up. I know that's time consuming, but that's part of the marketing play. And right now, like I mentioned in the past, it's time to deploy those marketing dollars, get somebody on it. Exchanges, KuCoin, BitGet, Gates. So we got some exchanges, Helix, even Dexes, but ultimately no major exchanges just yet. KuCoin, pretty good. BitGet, but we need some bigger exchanges if we want a little bit more volume and stability into here, because ultimately that's going to reduce a bit of risk. Okay, so we still have some growth here with regards to being listed on other exchanges, and that's why we could definitely see some volume into the price and see it go up as soon as it gets listed on, let's say, Binance or Coinbase or something like that. So keep that in mind. The overall metrics here, guys, it's about $7 the last time I checked. I did this deep dive a couple days ago, actually yesterday, so maybe the price may have fluctuated, but the overall market cap you can see is at about 88 million. Market cap. Trading volume is okay. It's about 5%. I like about 10% of the overall circulating supply, so that kind of gives us a little bit of an indication that it could benefit from some volume. It's not good and not bad, it's okay. The overall supply that is in circulation represents 65% of the fully max supply, so that's pretty good. We're not risking too much dilution if as tokens enter the market in that linear way that we talked about. It's the emission schedule is nice and linear, nice and slow and steady, so no real token unlocks, just a massive step down where we can see a huge amount of tokens hit the market all at once. So not bad overall. Fully diluted, in my opinion, is slightly undervalued here at about $140 million. It definitely has some value, more growth here. So I'm expecting a little bit more here from Oraichain in the immediate short term, and ultimately my price target. Where are we at with that? Let's see. My overall verdict, there's a few little points here that we should go through. It's built on Cosmos using the inter blockchain communication. IBC is what makes Oraichain interoperable. Basically, it could communicate to other chains that use IBC, and which is really good because there's no barriers to entry when it starts to look for other projects to basically use or implement their Oracle services. They want to be able to support many chains, and that's a smart move with regards to the team choosing the Cosmos base layer. Part of the AI and the Oracle narrative, for sure, a very hot narrative. Kind of cooled off just a little bit, but I think the Oracle concept is here to stay, because again, blockchains can't do it all. They need a data feed, but if we can decentralize it the way they've done, the way Oraichain has done it, and they can focus on a hot topic, which is AI, I think it has a really good chance of doing very well. New narrative and unique value proposition, very interesting value proposition. Both, all of that has to do with what it has to offer to the market, and it is definitely very valuable. Extraction is good. Discord needs a bit of engagement. They need something happening there. It looks dead in the water. Token holders distribution data needs to have a bit of a credible source. We need some information about token distribution, like where are these wallets and how many do they hold. Lots of uncertainty and ambiguity with regards to holder distribution. Again, what do I think about this? What do I think about this project? Ultimately, if we use Chainlink as an example, guys, we have to take this with a bit of a grain of salt here, and we got to be very critical about this, because again, you're looking at an 82x if we can compare it to current price target, current market cap of Chainlink. ultimately, the reason why I'm using it as the top dog of Chainlink is because ultimately there is no real first mover advantage right now for any oracle that is focusing on AI. This is this is the first mover that could potentially hit the top of the scale and compete with Chainlink. Chainlink right now is not an AI type of based thing. It's a data feed like every other, but Oraichain focuses on AI. So giving us an idea of where it could go, it could reach a $500 price target. I don't see why not, right? So we got to see where the overall AI narrative takes us. The value proposition here is very, very strong. And ultimately, because we know AI is not going anywhere, and in fact, it should be improving, the Oraichain narrative shouldn't be going anywhere as well. And seeing their ecosystem grow and make those relationships with other projects as they deploy new solutions using AI, ultimately Oraichain is going to have a very strong value proposition for all of those projects. All right, guys, so I ranked it 9 out of 10. It's a pretty high one, and I think it's a really good one. So keep an eye out there on that price. And of course, I know you're here to talk about charts. So let's take a look at what's going on here with the charts. The charts at the end of the day, you know, have been really, really good here for Oraichain. They've been running to the upside. Now, the question is this the right time to be buying? Now, if you're looking at this as a swing trade, you know, it might not be bad, but in the short term, we do see that this thing's been running from the bottom. Let's take a look at this in a little bit more detail and come up with a strategy here, because ultimately, fundamentals are one thing. Fundamentals are really good. We know they're solid. The value proposition is solid, but the price action in the short term is a representation of how much capital entered the market at what given point. People that bought in here at the bottom are definitely right now in some real deep gains. Well, percentage-wise, look where we're at. I know my charts are a bit messy, guys, so just bear with me. They're up 250%. That's significant, okay? Very significant. Now, if you look at the weekly and we start zooming out a little bit, I start looking at my overall strategy here, you can see that this low was the confirmation low. This was the higher low where people should have got super bullish. Now, of course, coming down to a double bottom may have also triggered that scenario, but we didn't get there. That's why DCAing, once we start getting signals of potential support, is very important. And on the weekly, it didn't really give us that scenario other than the EMA cross right here, which is really good. But you can see that at that back test, that confirmation low, the higher low, was the trigger or the bounce that we needed to actually get this thing going. Now, you could see that ultimately we're in a movement to the upside, 200 and something %. Crazy times. Now, do we actually come down again? That's the problem here, guys. We got a nice wick at this level. We could potentially get again to the red line, and we could potentially get rejected again, because people that didn't take profits here right now are saying, you know what, if we get a bit higher again, I'm going to be taking profits this time. There's no way that I'm going to, because look what kind of dip they had to endure from here being up over like maybe 300% to all the way down here, giving back all their gains and holding. You know how salty those individuals were at this level. So the reality is right now they learned their lesson. Right now they're saying, if we get remotely close, I'm not going to take it this time. I'm going to take profits. So that's basically the psychology. I believe that that will happen. You know, I believe that as we get to this level, we could get a reaction, and that's the risk you take right now, getting into a fresh long, because ultimately the rejection could be right around the zone. And then really you're basically taking risk with a very, very weak risk to reward ratio, because the place where you put your invalidation is at the previous low. If you look at the previous low, it's all the way down here, and the actual let's go back into the larger time frame. It's a bit easier to see. The actual target for resistance is all the way at about $10. So the reality is your risk to reward ratio is really trashy. Let me show you what I mean. Let's get a trade setup going. If you enter right now, and you can see that right now, this is the wrong tool. Sorry, guys. I don't know what even that is. Oh, that's Fibonacci extension. If you get into the project right now, you can actually see that the risk of coming all the way down here, because where else are you going to put your stop loss? Maybe here. okay, maybe, but it doesn't look like a strong area for support. And then your actual TP, you got to be careful because you can get rejected right around this level. And look at the risk and reward. It's really, really bad. Now, ultimately, big picture, if you start zooming out and you start having a bigger vision as far as the bull run vision, the reality is, let's zoom out a little bit. This whole accumulation phase that we're in right now, that we're trading in, basically is in preparation for this. This is what we are preparing for. This little move into here is nothing. This is all accumulation. The preparation for this means that you're going to build a position within this accumulation range to basically break out eventually above the $10 mark and hit about $40, which will make you that 237% very easily without taking too much risk, because there's very little supply and demand here to hold as resistance. As can be seen, we went straight down. The volume profile here has no resistance. You can see no volume into here to act as resistance for it to actually fly to that level. So this is the thing here, guys. It's all about risk. Right now, we could come up, get a bit of a rejection right here and come right back down, even as low as $2.50, $2.60. It's very possible. So what I would suggest now is, with that mindset, is think about a DCA strategy. Okay, you're a bit high. Your entry down here is when it should have happened, all the way here at the bottoms where I was saying buy the dip, green arrows. You can check out my previous videos, join the Discord, guys, because on the Discord I have all the charts that I've covered in the past, explaining the setup. It's all there, so at least you can refer to it for educational purposes. But at the end of the day, we can see the higher highs on the price action right now and lower highs on the RSI with this class A bearish divergence. It doesn't look the greatest. Okay, so we got to understand that that's very possible, but at the same time, we can also understand that the momentum on the RSI is not in extreme overbought conditions, which it could happen. It can consolidate here and finally pop to the upside and get into a little bit more extreme zone. But that's the risk you're going to take, right? The risk you're going to take right now is going long, is that we actually come down and retrace and get down to this level. So buy a bit now, buy a bit here, buy a bit below, scatter buy orders all into this level, all into the zone, because once you zoom out again, I'm going to just show you what you're really trying to do is accumulate into this range like all these other bulls that are doing it. Look at all this volume into here and look at all this volume into here. Okay, all this is very heavy in volume. All you're really doing is being a market participant like all these other individuals to accumulate in preparation for this. Okay, so DCA into this zone. If we pull back by a little bit more, and in fact, if you can double down, like let's use an arbitrary number. If you can get in with $10 right here, $20 over here, $40 down here, what really does happen is you're dragging your average cost down. And that way, when we get the pop to the upside, your entry will be nice and low because you're dragging your average cost down and you'll be in profits a lot earlier. And at the end of the day, when we start getting to resistance levels, you can start trailing up a stop loss and hoping that we start breaking out here, because it does look like a nice W formation that could end up doing one of these. Okay, let me put a diagonal in. You guys know that I don't really like diagonals, but we already got two bottoms right here, so we gotta understand that it could respect, and at the end of the day we could get rejected and come right back to about this level, which is at about $3.50 for another bounce, and then finally get out of this level with a nice explosive move to the upside. Okay, so that's the preparation. Skin in the game right now is not bad, because you never know if we get a strong bullish move to the upside, we start moving today, but ultimately reserve some capital just in case it goes down to these lower levels. Now, if you don't get the opportunity to deploy at these lower levels, guys, it's not over. We'll find another project, we'll find another opportunity, because ultimately this thing ran up already 250%, and a bit of a dip to the downside is absolutely normal, so expect that. All right, guys, thank you for stopping by. If you haven't yet, do the channel a massive favor and slap the like button, guys. I'm going to be live, of course, talking about crypto news and price action 7:30 Eastern, and of course join me on those socials. The socials, of course, all the links are in the description below. The Discord, guys, the Discord's where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. Take care, guys. Have a good one. And don't forget, buy the dip.